Hello, welcome to the Den. I'm Tobin, here today to continue my series that I'm calling Artisan Spotlight-ish and my favorite fragrances from that artisan. This afternoon, we'll be talking about Bricktown Grooming and Phil Decker. I've selected my 5 favorite fragrances. 2 of them would definitely be my must-haves. Phil has released a total of 9 fragrances. Only 8 of them are currently available. Irish Brigade, due to supply chain issues, is currently not available. So because of that, I did not include Irish Brigade in consideration. Had I, Irish Brigade would be in my top 5. I love all 9 fragrances. It was not easy. 2 of them was easy because they just stand out. But I love all 9. Let's get into this. So Phil Decker and I'm going to assume that you haven't seen any of my other content. We've just done a couple of lives in the past month or so, live shaves on Instagram. I invite you to check those out. I'll put links in the description. And I also just did the review of batch 214. I'll put that link in the description. Batch 214 is his new fragrance for the summer of 2022, celebrating his retirement from the United States Navy. Phil Decker is originally from Haverstraw, New York. He left Haverstraw, New York in 2002 to join the United States Air Force, and that had him stationed in Phoenix, Arizona. He would spend 6 years there, and then in 2008 he switched and enlisted to the United States Navy. He had basically the same exact job in the Navy as he did the Air Force, and that was essentially heavy equipment and construction. In the Navy, it's known as the United States Naval Construction Battalion, also called or known as the Seabees. And Seabees, S-E-A-B-E-E-S, I'll put it right here. And then down here at the bottom of the screen, Construction Battalion. Seabees is what they call a heterograph. Is when we take the word construction, the first letter C, battalion, first letter B, and you've got C and B, Seabees. United States Navy, fun fact, October 13th, 1775, founded in Philly. Phil has just done 14 years with the United States Navy and is entering retirement and into the private sector, where he's going to continue his line of work and construction. I met Phil on Instagram a little over a year ago. I believe it was June of last summer, 21. He and I have become good friends. We haven't always been friends. So I do have a little bit of a dog in the fight, meaning that my opinion of Bricktown is slightly biased, but it hasn't always been. And I try to be transparent with everything. I do consider Phil Decker a great friend in the community, and he's the kind of guy that we should all strive to be. And I mean that with all sincerity. Hardworking, loves his country, loves his family. And just as importantly, for us watching this video, he loves his community and he loves what he does, and that shows up in his work. Side note real quick, batch 214, this bottle right here is going to be given away, brand new, never opened, during a live shave with Mike Demish on Instagram. He's Old Fart Mike. He joined me a couple of weeks ago. He won this bottle in the giveaway that I did to kick off batch 214. And since he's in Germany and I can't ship it to him, he's decided to pay it forward during his live shave. So we'll give that away during his live shave sometime in the next few weeks or so. Let's get into this. All right, let's get into this. My top 5 favorite fragrances from Bricktown Grooming in no particular order. Let's start with this guy, Bricktown Grooming's Lafayette. Lafayette is a French barbershop named after Marquis de Lafayette, who was fortunate enough to walk this earth from 1757 to 1834. a French aristocrat, and a general in the American Revolution. And he would actually go on to serve as the leader of the Garde Nationale in the French Revolution. It's from these two periods of service that he would eventually be called the hero of two worlds. Top this all off, he joined the Royal Army at the ripe old age of 14. 14. Here where I live, we don't even let young men drive a car at 14. But Lafayette, he joined the Royal Army. At that time, like many Frenchmen, he did not like Great Britain at all. In fact, you could say there was great disdain and hatred. And it was from that hatred and the inspirational stories that he heard of the colonists' fight for independence that he would leave France, come to this continent to fight King George. His first major battle, was at the Battle of Brandywine, where he would be shot in the leg, and through that injury, he would actually end up meeting George Washington, and they would spend the winter together at Valley Forge. This guy was a general at the age of 19. I'd be proud of my son as a private at the age of 19. This guy's a general. American Revolution. Right? One other note about Lafayette, one of my favorite stories that I found while I was researching. The British were sent to kill him at Bunker Hill. Like, that was their mission. We're going to go kill Lafayette at Bunker Hill. But he outsmarts them. And in May of 1778, Bunker Hill is now called Lafayette Hill. Have they made stories about or movies about this guy? I don't know. I'll put my resources, though, in the description. If you have any other cool facts about Lafayette, I'd love to hear it. And if I made any mistakes, please correct me. I like to consider myself a big boy who still needs his mama, but I can take it. I love constructive criticism. In fact, I feed off of it. I really do. So please, don't ever hesitate to correct me in the comments below. Now, the fragrance. I've written this down, and the notes that I get from it are powdery, masculine, classic, slight lavender, hints of patchouli. And it's from that hints of patchouli that I get kind of a slight sweetness. Patchouli can be sweet. It's often earthy and, woody. That's how a lot of people would describe it. But it can also be sweet. And so you get this powdery, that's from the talcum. There's talcum in it. And but masculine and just a classic fragrance. I love this. This is Phil's take on a French barbershop. And it's fantastic. Fantastic. Moving along from Lafayette, we have Treasury Island. Now, Phil has told me that this one's kind of like I got it on the back of my right hand. He's told me that this one is hit and miss with some people, and I get that. All fragrances are like that, right? But this, you guys, it's amazing. So first, let's go into the history of it. Treasury Island, the name comes from Treasure Island. It's a former U.S. naval facility that operated in the San Francisco Bay from 1942 to 1997. And it was an electronics and radio communications training school. And it was the major center for departure and receiving point of sailors in the Pacific. I'll put maps right up here. It also served as the auxiliary air facility for airships, blimps, planes, and seaplanes. After World War II, a training center for nuclear decontamination was built in July of 1956 aboard the USS, and I love this name. I love this name. The USS Pandemonium. Pandemonium! Yes, Pandemonium. 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 A full-size mock-up of a Navy ship. Like, here's a picture of it. It's full size, okay? And what they did with this training facility, that's what it was. It was a landlocked naval ship, never left the port. Radioactive materials were placed on the ship, and they would train crews in radioactive detection and cleanup. And it remained in use until 1969. So, super cool. The USS, what's it called? That's right, children. Pandemonium. I think that's a great name for a fragrance. Hey, Phil, that one's free, buddy. USSS Pandemonium. Turn the page, Bob Seger. Let's get into the notes of this guy. So, on the label, like I was saying, Phil likes to keep it simple. 2 notes are often listed, but that doesn't mean that it has just 2 notes. Treasury Island, however, does have just 2 notes. And we have tobacco flower and leather. And we have essential oils from those 2 and those 2 only. That's the accord is made up of tobacco flower and leather. It's so good. Masculine. It's so masculine. There's no unisex about this one, guys. Depth, musky, gritty. Phil described it as for the working man. Do you remember Aqua Velvet's old slogan? I like to consider it's for the man who wants to. Tobacco flower is said to be similar to jasmine. Years ago, 5 years ago now, I bought a whole bunch of different essential oils, trying to get to know different fragrances. I never did pick up tobacco flower. I've actually got a list of essential oils that I want to pick up. But fruity, like fresh green apples, dabbed with citrus. That's how it's described, with almost chocolate-like undertones. Now, I don't pick up any chocolate in this. That's just how people describe the fragrance of tobacco flower by itself. I love leather frags. Here in a minute, we'll talk about one of his other leather fragrances. Some of my favorite from designer colognes or perfumes, got Ombre Leather, Fahrenheit's by Dior, and then Armani Code. And then there's other ones from wet shaving artists, like Boomtown is one of my favorites. Treasury Island, masculine. I freaking love it. It's damn good. It's good stuff, Maynard. Number 3 in my top 5 would be Juan Hill. This is a 1 ounce travel bottle. Juan Hill is in Cuba. In 1511, the year 1511, Cuba was conquered by Spain and had been under Spanish rule up until the war that's now known as the American-Spanish War, or the Spanish-American War. On July 1st, 1898, the Battle of San Juan Hill was fought. There's 3 major battles, and this was one of those 3. Cuba had been fighting for its independence for some time. In order to protect American interests, President McKinley sent the USS Maine down into the harbor to keep an eye on what was going on with cargo and stuff like that. The story gets a little murky as to what exactly happened. Some say it was a mine that blew it up. Others, depending on what you read, it was munitions that exploded. It doesn't matter, because the USS Maine sunk on February 15th, 1898. killing 268 American soldiers aboard. There had been lots of reports of all types of horrible, evil atrocities coming from Cuba that the Spanish were doing to the Cubans to try and stop the uprising. Rape, torture, okay? Shaving video, we won't go into it. Some great history here, though. So President McKinley called for 125,000 volunteers. There ended up being 3 regiments, but the one in particular, and one of the ones I think it's fair to say we remember the most, or that history remembers the most, was known as the 1st United States Volunteer Cavalry, aka the Rough Riders. The Rough Riders were led by none other than Teddy Roosevelt, the man who would become President of the United States of America. They fought in 3 battles, and they brought with them 1,060 soldiers and 1,258 horses. That was Teddy and his Rough Riders. The decisive blow, and Teddy and the Rough Riders were there for this. And please, again, correct me in the comments below if I'm wrong. If you have anything great or interesting to add, please do. I love history, and that's just one of the many reasons why I love Bricktown Grooming. So along with that, there's also the victory that was known as the Siege of Santiago. And the Rough Riders were there for that as well. And again, I have to ask, is there a movie out there? Like a good one? I'd love to see it. So what I have written down here are notes: smoky, sweet, and a touch of cinnamon. Again, he keeps it real simple with the label. I'll just put a picture of it here. It says tobacco and vanilla on the label. There's tobacco and vanilla in it. That's like, where you get the Cuban like cigar. So this is a little bit, this is not tobacco flower. It's a darker, sweet, spicy, with vanilla and cinnamon tobacco type frag. This and another are my absolute 2 favorites. When I believe I mentioned earlier that there's 2 that were super easy for me, and the wife loves both of these as well, which is another reason why they're 2 of my favorites. I like what Mama likes. I don't know about you guys, but I like what Mama likes, and whatever Mama likes is good stuff, Maynard, and it's all right by me. Juan Hill is a banger. Got it on the back of my left forearm. All these fragrances last about 6 to 8 hours on my skin. The lighter ones, maybe citrus, but I can get a good full day out of all these frags from Bricktown. Smoky, sweet, and a touch of cinnamon. Tobacco and vanilla. It is so freaking good. And that's all I got to say about that. Let's move on to the next one. So the next one is my other 2 favorites. And the wife loves this one as well. Carpenter's Mate. Carpenter's Mate is named after one of the oldest ratings in the United States Navy. The rating was first established in 1797. The sleeve insignia is depicted with 2 crossing axes, or 2 crossed axes. A carpenter's mate would maintain ship ventilation, watertight control, painting, and drainage. And that just names a few of the responsibilities. When like conflict would hit, they'd put out fires. There was a lot of stuff that they did. In 1948, the rating was changed to damage controlman. Again, if I'm wrong with any of this, please correct me in the comments below. I've never served, and I certainly was never a carpenter's mate. With this, cedar and leather is what's listed on the label. I get woody, fresh, masculine, like most of Bricktown's fragrances. I think you can apply masculine to all of them. The leather in it is lighter than the leather in Treasury Island, to my nose. Cedar is a soft wood, like fragrance-wise. It's softer than, you know, pine and stuff like that. What I mean is it doesn't have, it's not as boom in your face, right? It is so damn good, you guys. So of course I love all of these, like I've already said, but I can smell this all day long, and added value to it is the wife loves it. If you're only going to buy 2 fragrances from Bricktown, Carpenter's Mate and San Juan Hill, if you've tried either one of those, please, I'd love to know what you think about it as well. Am I missing any notes on that? Dude, guys, they're bangers. Bangers! Is that too loud? Bangers. Last, but certainly not least, Hell's Bells. On the label, it says pine and citrus. I had to ask Phil what the inspiration was for the name of this fragrance, because I couldn't think of any historical significance to this name at all. You know, a lot of this I had to look up just for prosperity, maybe that would be the right word, or for accuracy. I am a history buff, and so, you know, some of these things I have known, but I learned a lot in putting this video together. But there's nothing that I could find at all, even with a Google search, the Hell's Bells and a connection with the United States Navy or any historical references. So I asked Phil. Did I say that? I asked Phil. No, I asked Phil. Dude, brother, sir, Mr. Man. Phil, from Haverstraw, New York, what's your inspiration for Hell's Bells? You know what he told me? Yes. AC freaking DC, Brian Johnson, Hell's Bells, Thunderstruck. Yeah, that's right. That one. The story behind it, because then you're like, what? Okay, this is kind of, you know, not with the theme of Bricktown. Oh. He answered. Hell's Bells. Picture this. Picture this in your mind. He's at military school. So, going back before the Air Force, before the Navy. He's at military school. And the opening song was Hell's Bells. I'd love to play it, but because of YouTube's rules, I won't. And he said that on the first day of military school, it was kind of like a shock and awe exercise. The corporals and the sergeants would play that song, the beginning of it, and you hear the boom, right? And they would come running out, the corporals and the sergeants, while the bells were sounding, and they'd start yelling in their faces. For me, and from what I've seen in other people's lives, music is very powerful. Much like a fragrance. It has power. The power to transform, the power, you know, to transform an attitude, or, you know, to bring back memories. Music has the same kind of power. Phil said that 24 years later, he still white knuckles the steering wheel every time that song comes on in the car. Music is powerful. I love AC/DC, and I love Phil's story behind the naming of this fragrance. On the label, we have pine and citrus listed. Pine is a strong note in it. You also have some amberwood and moss. And you can pick out that moss in the dry down. It's kind of, so the pine is obvious, but then you get this sweet and herbal. I guess he also used, it was juniper. And so you have this sweet herbal, hint of juniper, and then, hints of mossiness in the dry down. Hell's Bells is one of those earthy frags that just resonate with me. Growing up in the Pacific Northwest and being an outdoorsman my entire life, I love it. And now that I know the story behind this, the name of this fragrance, I love it even more. What are your top 5? Do you have any fragrances from Bricktown? What do you think about them? I love them. One thing on a side note, super cool. So I have these 1 ounce bottles. Phil calls them travel bottles. The regular size bottles are 4 ounces. At the Shave Supply, I'll put a link in the description. At the Shave Supply, you can get 7 of these 5 ounce bottles. You can get 7 of these 1 ounce bottles. And all top 5 are in that list, including you get, Barbary Pirates and No Quarter, and that's the Bay Rum. So the only one you don't get in this current production is batch 214. If you pick that up from Gareth at the Shave Supply, let me know. And if you don't have batch 214, if you buy that, send me a picture of it, okay? This is something I'm doing on my own free will. If you buy that, send me a picture of your mail call or whatever it is, and I'll mail you a vial like this one full of batch 214. The post-shave feel of Bricktown's products, if you've never tried it, are second to none. It will leave your skin healthy for hours. It's perfect. It's the ultimate skin food. And one last thing, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, especially for the new guys if you're still watching. Look at the ingredients label. Essential oils are 100% natural. Fragrance oils are synthetic. And because of that, essential oils cost more. And I don't care what anybody tells you. If anyone tells you otherwise, they're trying to sell you something, which I'm not trying to do. But I have no gain from selling you this, guys. No gain at all. I don't do affiliate codes or anything like that. But essential oils also perform better and are better for your skin. And with fragrance oils, since they're synthetic, you have to be so careful because you never know when you might get a reaction to it. The ingredients list on Bricktown stuff, and I'm going to put it right here so you can see it too, is so short and so sweet. Ingredients: alcohol, water, witch hazel, essential oils, coconut oil, vitamin E. That's it. That's it. Quality, 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 quality. The Splash is second to none on the market today. In 2022, Bricktown Grooming, when it comes to post-shave feel, only has equals. Fragrance is subjective. I love all 9. I would actually have 10 because I was fortunate enough to partake in the batch 214 design, if you will, I guess, right? I don't know what you call it. Third grade math skills hinder me. Fragrance is subjective. Post-shave feel, I guess, can be subjective too. So I thank you all for tuning in. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. And seriously, you can't go wrong. $20 is the current price of a 4-ounce bottle. That's cheaper than most aftershaves on the market today. Phil Decker does this because he loves it. He has a day job. This is just a hobby, something he does for himself and for other Navy men. If you watch the live shaves I've done with Phil, you'll get all kinds of backstory on it. Phil is amazing people, damn good people. And I can't say enough good things about Bricktown Grooming. His products caught fire and have become popular for one reason. For one big reason. They perform. They perform. It's that simple. Thank you. Smokey thanks you. Until next time, take care of yourself. It's the little big things, gentlemen. little big things. Thank you.